Hey, how's it going? As always, Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering here at RCS. Once again, Thursday, 11 a.m. time for an RCS Live. And today we're talking about GSelector's Hotspot Filter. Yes, what is that Hotspot Filter? You know you've always seen it, right? But the idea is how to implement it and when to implement it while you're scheduling and massaging your music logs. So it's an exciting one today. Any questions, of course, I am here. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter Live. Any questions for me, let me know. As well as some really exciting things coming on the pipeline as well, especially in regards to GSelector. A slight tease of the brand new 5.1 GSelector build, which you can see right here in the fancy new colors. And ooh, so pretty. Yes, a nice little makeover for GSelector. Really excited for this version. It's in beta right now. If you wanted to play with it, you totally could. Just reach out to your local RCS contact and we'll get you in touch with them to get the 5.1.0 GSelector beta version. Also looking for beta versions for Zeta 522.1, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 2. Sorry, there's a lot of versions in my head right now. That's in beta right now. That should be released, by the way, and I think days, if not today, sometime in the very near future, too. Got a lot of beta users on that one who are loving that version of Zeta. It's a really, really cool version. Of course, if you want to see past videos of an archive of the RCS Live, you can do that at rcsworks.com/RCS-live. For there, you can check out that Zeta 521.1 video over there too. Other great videos on there as well. I always tell users when they're looking for resources, that's such a great website because you can take the title, you can search for it. We have a written blog. Don't forget, after every one of these RCS Lives, I do it in written form to help you out, to give you a better idea of what's going on. I'm just loading up my webpage here so I can cue this up. There's a lot of great stuff going on here too. So, if you ever wanted to go and say, hey, I'm looking about doing X, Y, and Z, you can do that by just looking at the archive and answer those questions there too. Some really great stuff, right? Uni? Hey, thanks for checking in from Thailand. That's right. We have the chat in here too. How's it going? Oh, wow. My chat's blowing up over here. Hold on a second. How's it going? Thank you for checking in. Hello from Thailand. Nick, I can see here. Zimbabwe. Wow, I got everybody going on here. How's it going, Nick? And let's see what's MJ. Didn't forget about you, MJ. How's it going? Thanks for checking in, guys and gals. I appreciate it. Always love it. Any questions, let me know. I'm here to help out. That's the purpose of these RCS Lives, right? Let's see here. Reminder to check your backups and all that good stuff. Just a little friendly reminder there. Don't forget RCS is hiring as well. We're expanding with some really, really cool opportunities. We want to get in the ground floor of some very exciting RCS products, including our field technician services installation team. You can do that by applying over at careers, rcsworks.com. Go to the About Us career page. Check out all the details there on those. Really, really exciting stuff there. And so we'd love to work with you and talk about radio and all that good stuff, right? And we're on the road too. I'm going to be at the NAB Fall Show in New York. I just found that out. So thank you to Felicia for hooking me up on that. So if you're going to be out and about at the NAB show here in New York City, stop by and say hi. I'll be there walking around. Reach out. We can talk about some GSelector, Zeta, Revma, RCS News, Acquira, whatever you want. We'll talk about it. I'll have my laptop there and we can talk about some radio stuff. So let's dive right into it. Speaking of radio stuff, I'm talking about here this Hotspot Filter. So I'm working here with my GSelector library under the editor and the Hotspot Filter right there. You can see Control T for a shortcut, or just click on this. It will open up that window here on the right-hand side. And I'll expand this just a little bit so you can see a little more of what's going on here in that window. So what is the Hotspot Filter and why are we utilizing it, right? And so here's the concept of the Hotspot Filter. And I'll be honest with you, when I first was a program director utilizing GSelector, I wasn't a really big fan of Hotspot Filter. I was more of a massaging the logs, looking at the scores and stuff like that. As we evolved and the radio library has also evolved as well, I'm really kind of specifically talking about the current stations, right? Because the classic hits are typically, we have our goals and rules in there. And any kind of gold-based stations, there's not a lot of new music. So there's not a lot of issues with the library. What you're seeing now is a lot more of these artists are releasing multiple singles, and they're getting played in the power, sub power, new music categories. And let's just be honest, it's just very difficult to schedule around them. But the problem is, it's not really a problem. It is what it is. It's what people are buying, right? And so the concept is that if this is what people are buying, then we have to play what people are buying, right? And if they're playing, they have no problem listening to all of the Harry Styles, then why not, right? That's the idea there. Yes, we're excited to see you at NAB too as well. Sorry, I'm looking at my comments here on my side screen. And so I'll go ahead and share that. I'll be at NAB Fall Show in case you're just tuning in right now. Absolutely. So the idea is that when we have these weighted libraries, right? It's just simple math, right? Don't forget, GSelector does what you want it to do. It's not overly complicated. If I want to have an average turnover for artist separation of, let's say, 40 minutes, but I have a library that dictates that I'm playing Harry Styles every 12 minutes, that's what it is, right? It's what it is. I used to joke. I always give the example, a shout out my old radio station. They wanted to have essentially a song attribute that was roughly 25 minutes apart and needed to play 3 times an hour. Do that math there for a second. 3 times an hour, 25 minutes apart. Carry the 4. Yeah, no, you can't do that. It's not math. We only have 60 minutes in the hour. And so what happens is that we have to identify certain things inside of GSelector, right? And don't forget, that's the goals tab over here, the goals and balance. That's a great resource to show you essentially what's going on in your database, in your library. But there are just times where we just have a very weighted, biased library, especially in our currents. There's Doja Cat in there. There's Nicki Minaj in there. There's Harry Styles. There's Adele, whatever it could be, right? We have to play those artists because we want to play those artists. So a great way to kind of just quickly go and make sure your log is looking good is utilizing this hotspot filter. And I'll be honest with you. I said earlier, I wasn't a huge fan of this beforehand. I kind of introduced this to some of my programmers that I work with here, and they absolutely loved it. And so then I had a new programmer ask a question, and I said, try this hotspot filter. Let me know what you think about it. And he was like, it is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted to do. So imagine this scenario, right? Typically, if we had all the time in the world, we weren't podcasting, we weren't blogging, we weren't doing the live appearances, we weren't scheduling logs, we weren't doing a 4-hour on-air shift, right? We would just spend hours just doing music logs, but sometimes it's not really the case. So imagine this. It's a Thursday afternoon, right? You're coming off your shift. You had a whatever music meeting it was, jump into a sales meeting. You have your on-air shift. You have a live appearance at 5 o'clock. You got to run to. You got to beat the traffic. And, oh, I didn't get a chance to finish massaging my music log, right? Now, notice how time is a little bit of the essence here, as well as we just want to see, hey, you know what, GSelector? Just show me the things that I care about, right? And that's what the hotspot filter can do. So working in the editor, we open up the hotspot right here. We choose our date range. We have all of that good stuff. Once we go over here, we have the hotspot filter on the right-hand side. Notice how it docks here. I can move it around if I wanted to, right? Just left click and drag it. I typically like to put it here on the right-hand side, but you can put it wherever you want and dock it on your screen. Typically, this is one of those windows where once you dock it, it's a short-term session because when you close GSelector, bring it back up, it's going to go reposition itself back here on the top right. And you can see the show only has songs and links. And the idea is that I can still see my log, my workspace here. I can still see the test bar failure details and the history if I wanted to. But I really care about this window and what is it telling me here? These are the goals and rules. These are the attributes. And then I filter, right? I essentially say, look at this day and tell me how it's looking, right? And you can choose some of these goal types, right? So I have some users who, they don't really utilize, let's say, days at a day part or day part rotation or whatever that is. They only care about minimum separation, or they only care about segue bands, right? Or they only care about yesterday rules or prior day rules. Filter this or just leave it all or nothing. It's up to you. And these attributes, we typically keep them all in there. That's just a quick little filter there, right? This goal types, I would definitely suggest, highlight, remove the things you care about. And then from there, we filter this, right? We're going to retest the day by definition. We're going to say, okay, let me look at this entire day. I'm going to retest it. And I'm going to identify any problem spots. right? And remember, these columns here are customizable. I can sort them by A to Z or Z to A. So if you're looking at certain categories or certain titles, for example, or more specifically, we're looking at score here. That's what we care about, right? So we have category, title, artist, score. We also have actual indifference here, some options there too, some radial options if you have some of those violations as well. But from my personal experience, again, using the hotspot filter, we're kind of in a pinch. We just care about the things we care about. And one of the things we care about is the score. That's it, right? So here's our score. And we can clearly see right now, remember, the scoring in GSelector, it's a test. If we pass the test or it's a breakable goal and rule, right? That's a 65 or above. We have passed the test. If we have an unbreakable rule and we have failed that unbreakable rule, we get a score of a 0, right? So I'm looking at those zeros here to see exactly what's going on. Now, I'll be honest with you. If you know me, I'm always constantly showing users different techniques on my database. So I always kind of knock it out of whack a little bit here. And so just be aware that you're going to see a lot of zeros here. It's both intentionally. Some of it is my Zeta filler category. Some of it is me testing things with clients. So obviously my disclaimer has always been, don't look at this screen and say, well, that's how Nate has it. I have the same exact thing. No. I purposely break this all the time to show different examples, just so you know. And here's one of them, right? So I go to the song score 0, and you can see here I have this levitating here. It's got a song of a 0 for yesterday. I have a highlight here, by the way, too. This nice big highlight for me that just says, hey, Nate, heads up, this is a score of a 0 because yesterday violates that, right? And you can see down here I have some options, too, to always utilize this test bar. So when I was a PD, I always really cared about vocalist separation by my station. So that was always the top of my list. It was spin, vocalist, and I looked at that, right? So this is telling me that, hey, Levitation's got an issue with yesterday's same hour, and I can maybe just go and take that with a J and maybe just juggle it to the previous, oh, here's a bad habits. I'll just go ahead and juggle that there. And maybe that's a better song. Maybe it's not a better song based on where the score is going to be. But notice I did that. It resolves the situation. Great. Sounds good. I'll go to the next one. Okay, Coldplay. What's going on here? Right, Nick? Uma, what's going on here? Can you tell me what's going on? We have a mood linear 3. So we have a segue band here of 0, right? So, okay, well, I have a segue band issue. I'm just going to go and take that Coldplay, hit J. I'm just going to juggle it with maybe this happy down here, right? Again, just caring with the things I care about. Now, if you notice, boom, we're good. This song's great. I just fixed it. The score is better. The hour is better. The day is better. And then all I do is I just keep chugging along. Here's the next one. C, sound code, linear pop. Too many pops in a row. Okay, well, I know C is a subpower. Here's also a subpower. Lord into pink. I don't really like that one. Maybe I'll go up and there's a glitter. Well, I'm going to a stop set. So I'm okay with playing that. So I'll swap it out with a Pharrell in there and then do something like this, a rejuggle. And now we had the Summer of Love. No issues. Done. We're good to go, right? Back down the next one, go to Lord. And notice what we're doing here. We're just going down each one of these, just saying, here's your day. Here's the lowest scoring songs. Fix it by juggling it or replace it if you want to do that too. And then from there, keep on going on. I'm typically more of a juggler in this situation than replace, because obviously be aware, if we schedule this, it's there for a reason. If you're seeing these 0 scores here, it's probably because you're utilizing something like disabled and slotted. And that's because we want to have the plot line of the staircase versus too many Taylor Swifts in a row, that type of thing, right? And so at least now, let's just pretend for a second that Lord has, 3 songs in the powers right now, which happens with Harry Styles, right? Obviously, I know for a fact I'm going to look at this test bar and really look at the vocalist and see where we are in the world, look at the mood, look at the energy, things I care about, attributes that I care about. And then I can say, all right, well, I have Coldplay, Maroon 5, John Kay, and Lord. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just kind of swap that out like this. That's a better music sweep in those 4 songs. I'm done. We're good. I'm moving on to the next one, right? And so it just gives you a little flexibility, because if I want that staircase pattern, I would much rather have GSelector plot out the staircase pattern and the ways that I care about. But then while massaging my logs, I can do a slight tweak because typically I might not want to put a B next to a C, next to an R. But in this circumstance, it's a better transition than if I have a B, R, C, which is just how I scheduled it in the first place based on my clocks, right? And those categories, by the way, are just numbers that I give. The most typical is always A's or powers, B or sub powers, C or below that, ends new music, stuff like that. That's just the way I have our default library here categorized. So there's some options there on how you want to do that, right? And so you can see if I'm in a pinch and I need to quickly just show me all of the problems in my database, right? Or my schedule, I should say. I can go right here to the editor, load up my hotspot filter, go by the things I care about here, and then boom, I'm good to go. Some users get very specific here. So they'll go ahead and they'll remove, let's say, like past day percent and play windows and all these kind of ones that are like you may not, let's say, necessarily care about per se. We'll get rid of spread here. We'll keep clock going here. These are kind of, in my opinion, the most typical everyday goals and rules, in my opinion. And so I can do that. And I'll notice how this list is much shorter because I'm only showing the things that I care about. In addition to that, notice, by the way, here, I have song score of a 0 for vocalist, violating a vocalist yesterday spread on Justin Bieber. So clearly I must have put that in for another client here because that seems a little redundant for Justin Bieber and yesterday vocalist rules, but I was probably doing something there. And you can do here where I can say, okay, there's a score of a 0. This right here is a score of 81. This is technically fine. There's nothing wrong with this, right? So visually speaking, I'm looking at this day and I can massage every position, or I can run the hotspot filter and say, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs to fix. Notice that time difference, right? Fixing 7 songs versus looking at every position for every single hour. It is way more efficient to utilize the hotspot filter. And then, of course, it turns into how are you interpreting the hotspot filter? Again, many of my current top 40 hot country stations and programmers that are looking at this going like, I just want to plot my powers as is, let them play. And then if there's any transitions that I want to kind of tweak just a little bit, then cue it on me. I'm the person that's going to go in there, look at it and say, I can get away with this. I'm going to juggle these 2 songs, move on to the next one, call it a day, right? All makes sense? As I start to wrap this up, any last call for questions, let me know here, okay? I'm going to try to get last call for questions here as I wrap it up. So again, the idea here is I have a very short period of time. I need to see the hot spots, the problem child, the issues I have with just the day's log, and then I can go from there, highlight it, fix it, identify it, move on, call it a day. That's the beauty of the hotspot filter. And by the way, if I jump to the next day, right, I'll just jump to, let's say, Friday, right? All I have to do here is just re-click on the filter, right? Once I have that filter there, I could, yeah, hi, buddy. My dog just bumped in. So I can go over here, and again, I can see my songs. I got 3 here. Click on this, click on this, click on this, fix it, and call it a day. And we're all good. Right? Right? You like it too? Last call for questions. Hey, got some great stuff coming on the pipeline for you as well. Don't forget the archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. Some great resources for you there. And if you're going to be at NAB in the fall show with the 19th and 20th, I'll be there as well. So have a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time for an RCS Live. Thank you so much.